It's Chris, Liege Games. Let's do this. The roundup. Now, I wasn't going to leave you hanging, obviously. I know I threw out almost 50 games at you last week just to let you know a little sampling of what's coming, but I'm going to show you a little bit more brief highlights, snapshots, and my personal picks of the week. Sort of tailorize it a little bit different this week, if you will. Now, obviously, the roundup was yesterday and everything that went along with that. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a review coming out. Which game? It's going to be a surprise, but hopefully it'll be interesting. And you know what else? I'm going to have my September roundup for my personal collection coming out soon, as well as, sort of the fourth quarter has all of a sudden sprung upon us. October, November, December. And so I've done sort of the ones for October, but the November, December sort of side of things has sort of flown under the radar. And I might dedicate just a short video to that because there are a couple games that are coming, but honestly speaking, there's not a whole lot as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what pops up between now and the year end because, holiday season actually kind of dips down, and I'm already seeing that after the end of October. So, but we'll see. Again, stuff always pops out of nowhere. It is what it is. Okay, let's do this. Look, this is the pick of the week. This is my most hyped game this week. This is the game I am most likely to back. Final Frontier Games Bardwood Grove, taking a different spin on things from their other two games, the most recent being Merchant's Cove, where that is more of an asymmetric worker placement style game, and they are going a completely different route in the same Five Realms universe that they've utilized. So it still says it's using Euro style mechanisms, but it's doing it in more of a tableau manner, where you're taking two cards each turn, you're playing one for instant benefits, and you're adding your second to your tableau. Asymmetry, a little bit of deck building, a little bit of everything else in between. I would have loved to have my hands on this beforehand, but I am going to be anticipating this one just alongside you guys at this point because I think this one has a good chance to... again, none of the others have sort of broke the bank, but I think in terms of potential style match for me, this is super high up there. And the second game on this list is probably the only one that has a higher match for me, but is still just a little bit different take on things as a whole. But overall, Bardwood Grove, it's going to get all of the eyes next week. I would dare say it's probably the one to watch of all of them, besides just from my side of things, just with Rise to Nobility and Merchant's Cove and how they have been received from Final Frontier Games over the last couple years. So, all in all, my pick of the week, number one, by far and away. Now, what's my pick of the week, number two? North Star Games, Paint the Roses. This cooperative game where you are trying to predict what garden piece needs to be in there so that the Queen of Hearts doesn't chop off your head as you're trying to slowly escape from her. It's doing everything I like. Hard, cooperative, a little bit of deduction. I can't say enough. It's easily my pick of the week, number two, of things that look really good from a production standpoint. I believe Space Biff may have just put also out his review of it. So if you're interested for someone else's opinion besides my own, because my own is kind of like this big comparatively in the world of board games right now, and probably will stay that way, but I'm most hyped about this because I really dig the hard cooperative side of things. So all in all, the aesthetic is beautiful. It looks like they've really got some deep gameplay going on here. Now, I hope that the miniature doesn't drive up a little bit of the price point because of these guys you're just moving around on the little hexes. That's my only concern is did they really deluxify this, and is the price point going to be something that was sort of like with Station Fall, where I love the idea and I love the concept of the game, but I just can't get it at that point because there's nothing gameplay wise that isn't going to be there at a retail side of things for a lower fraction of the cost. All in all, again, I have no attachment to the Alice in Wonderland theme, but it's great to see them do something new with this as well that sort of fits thematically. I know it's going to be good. It's just going to be a question of, again, where is it at? And I could see this one, staying in the low 20s, 30s, 40s. I could also see this one easily doing, six figures plus. Again, no idea when something like this, how many other people are out there like me looking at this going, yeah, this really seems right. And some of that sometimes, I guess, really just depends on, for me, like I mentioned, price point and deluxification. So all in all, I'm super excited by it, but we'll see when it launches on the 12th. By the way, Bardwood Grove, 13th. So didn't forget about that, but just thought I'd throw it out there. So after that, it's sort of still a bunch of things coming out, but those are the two that I am most hyped for that are going to get most of my potential loot from the wallet side of things. Now, what else is coming out? Well, on the 12th, we also have Gartenbau. It's sort of a tableau building garden type game. I mean, it's not really needing to be explained other than that, and you're going to be drafting these cards, it looks like, from a center board in order to be able to place them down in your garden in a matching arrangement. Again, we're seeing a lot of nature themes. It's really interesting how these things kind of go in waves, in bunches, where all of a sudden we have a bunch of 4X games, like literally like 4X games within 2 weeks. Voidfall, Fractal, Federation, and Meridian. But now we're getting a lot of these garden theme games. I mean, there was a couple tulip theme games earlier in the year. This is going to be really interesting to see, again, what this does, because this is one of those where I go, is the appeal there? I mean, is the difference there? We've seen Verdant. We saw a couple like Zoo King in the last week as well in the roundup. And, what else is there from that side of things? How different can you make these? And are people, again, looking for the tile placement sort of drafting side of things? I don't know how popular drafting is anymore nowadays either. I don't know if people are a big fan of that or if they prefer not to. It reminds me a little bit of, in a very tangential way, Copenhagen from Queen, where you're drafting the cards that allow you then to buy the pieces to make your building. Now, obviously, this is completely different, but I mean, just in terms of the drafting and the round type situation in the middle. So, all in all, we'll see what it does on the 12th when it launches. Also on that day, obviously, we have Thunder Road Vendetta, the remake from Restoration Games. Again, there's not a whole lot of information out there, and there's only like a rough prototype picture on the website on Board Game Geek. So I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of some of their other ones. I know a lot of people are super hyped about Return to Dark Tower and are still, I feel like the impression of Fireball Island still is very split. Like, people are either like super happy and super excited by it, or people were kind of like me and they were kind of a little bit let down, and nostalgia was a little bit too strong, and I ended up selling mine locally because, honestly, I didn't think the production was what I was looking for. It was a little bit finicky in terms of the setup for me. Like, holding some of those marbles, the placeholders on there were just not, I mean, you blew on them, from across the room and they kind of fell down, and it was a little bit too much work for what my kids wanted to play from that side of things. And Return to Dark Tower was the exact opposite. It was so over the top production for me that I just couldn't, say that I was going to like it. And the cost wise, I just couldn't do it at the time. So what is Thunder Road Vendetta going to look like? How are they going to make that? I mean, because apparently the gameplay is not going to be significantly different, very much similar to the other two games I mentioned. But what all is it going to entail, and how, frankly speaking, deluxe is it going to be, and where is that price point going to be as well then? Is it going to be Fireball Island, or is it going to be something closer to Return to Dark Tower? I have no idea, but we'll see when it launches on the 12th. Also launching the 12th, the Dragon Tombs Kickstarter game. Again, no idea what this is, but hey, you know what? Give some love to another channel. Give the love some a mystery game. I love me some mystery, envelopes all the time, so why not mystery game? So we'll see what the Dragon's Tomb has got in store for us. Yeah, it's cool to see stuff like this happen, and promoting other people never hurts. So there you go, launch on the 12th as well. Then we have Taverns and Dragons, which I believe is actually on Gamefound. This is more of a worker placement style game where you are trying to go out and get resources and ingredients to fulfill recipes, to feed the king as he's coming, and you only have like 3 days to prepare. So the person that can do the most and delicious, but also just most in general recipes for points is going to be the winner. You're going to also be having to deal with dragons and get potentially resources for them and deal with that. I don't know. I mean, I don't think of this style of things with worker placement necessarily, like dragons and, castles and sort of thing, but I mean, they're going for it. As I said in my video yesterday, I wonder how this game would fare on Kickstarter versus Gamefound. I mean, Gamefound is great, and I love Gamefound. At the same time, I feel like Gamefound has a lack of exposure when they don't have one of the super big projects running. There's not as many eyes over there nearly on a daily, weekly basis that Kickstarter just gives. I mean, Kickstarter just has the eyes, and so you get it just by sheer numbers there that I think things are funding a little bit better from. And again, it's no indication or indictment on Gamefound. It's just kind of a matter of fact. They got the big spikes and then they got the extremes on the other side of things. There haven't been too many like Lands of Galzir, which has sort of fallen in between in terms of dollar amounts. It's, you know, it's been Kingdom Rush, it's been ISS Vanguard, you know, those high ones on that side of things. We're going to see Lord of Ragnarok in, you know, 2 weeks. And then it's been like sort of the Cthulhu, Sandy Peterson side of things, the horror games, and then, you know, things like this. And what is going to break the mold? Where is the break going to come? And honestly, I don't know. But I mean, it's going to be a busy month on Gamefound regardless. So Taverns and Dragons is one of them. Check it out if you're interested. Next up is Forgotten Treasure. This is more of a take that tactical card game. And you can see a little bit of what you're going to be doing here. You're going to be using just various cards to attack other people and influence them. Claim whatever artifacts that you need to win. You're going to try and get these keys in order to claim the most treasure chests in order to win. I mean, this is an ultimate card game chaos making. So if you're looking for something like that, I think it's definitely worth it. However, I mean, it's also going to be, you know, a lot of take that. So it just depends on how much you like that style of game. I mean, I actually like the aesthetic and I like the art. But I just haven't had good luck on picking these card games on Kickstarter. I've had a couple others like Captain's Wager and stuff like that that just hasn't really panned out. Epic the card game. I just haven't had good luck in terms of picking which one is a good fit for me, and so I'm always super reluctant to back these card-based games solely. The only one of recent ilk that I've even had relatively good luck on that wasn't like Aeon's End was Ausonia, which is a surprisingly good solo game, and I have not had a chance to play it with multiple people yet, but it's also sort of under the radar. But anyway, this is Forgotten Treasure. Let's get back to that, and it's launching on the 12th as well, so check it out. Now, next up, we have a little bit of a different combo of things from board game tables. Now, you may know them from several of these other games, QE, and then Loot of Lima, and then most recently they did Kabuto Sumo, which is making waves right now as a very interesting dexterity game. And then they recently had the trio of Bear Raid Factory Funner and Ghosts of Christmas. Ghosts of Christmas, which is a reskin with better art of one of my favorite trick-taking games from Japan, which I have an original copy of that I imported. And they are going just along those lines of things. And, you know, the first game, very straightforward, right? It's called Dandelions. Dandelions. Makes sense. Dice rolling area majority game where you're trying to get your dandelion seed to the best area to grow. Very little direct competition style of game, it says. Roll a group of dice, choose one, place it along your way. Then you can choose to activate one of 3 different actions or powers, and then just kind of rinse and repeat until all the dice are used. So, I mean, that's relatively straightforward, right? Right? No big deal. Where's the twist? The twist is the other game. And this is, can't make this stuff up, folks, Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town. Now, you're not familiar with this game. I am actually completely familiar with this game because this was, along with one of the other games and the other combination of games that I ordered and imported from Japan, this was on the short list of things I was thinking of, but I ended up not getting it for a couple different reasons. But they are taking it, using the original art, or upgrading it essentially, but getting more of it and adding it alongside of Dandelions in this dual combo Kickstarters launching on the 12th. And this is going to be cool, actually. You're going to want to check this out. This is my pick of the week, number 3, because Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town is this very interesting game where on one side you sort of have this mayor that makes up a map. And the map is basically unknown to the players on the other side of things. And so this is a 3 to 4 player game because you can't have really, it's not really a good one-on-one. And on the other side, you have the pizza deliverers, the psychic pizza deliverers, mind you, are trying to magically just randomly go in directions and find their way to the correct house that the pizza has to be delivered to. And they're going to be just choosing directions, choosing psychic attacks, and then trying to banish ghosts that are in their way while still making their way to the right way using deduction. So, because the mayor is going to give them some information after they do those actions, you know, of what they're next to and what's happening and how the actions resolve. And so, again, very, very interesting twist on things. I have a similar but slightly different Japanese game that I got instead called Fog Sight, which takes a very similar concept but does it in a more, you know, different, unique way. But all in all, to be able to actually maybe have a chance at getting this, because I am one of the backers of Ghost of Christmas as well. That was the only game I got from their previous one because I wanted a reskin of this game that I already have because it looks beautiful and I love the gameplay, and maybe I'll gift my original copy. But that's why I think it should be mentioned on this side of things too, and that is pick number 3 of the week, as the one just to have your eye on if you're looking for something cool that you probably haven't seen before. So there you go. Last up is Turning Tides. Now again, I talked about this one previously. It's a 1v1 naval battle-esque game where you are literally having your ships go across trying to outmaneuver each other, and as you're crossing each other, shoot your cans at each other while trying to dodge, but also trying to deal as much damage to your opponent by using the cards that you're going to be playing simultaneously. So that's also launching on the 12th. That's what you need to know. No pictures, but check it out, because naval battle game. There you go. So that's it. That's the roundup for the week. The next 2 weeks after this are going to be much bigger in terms of stuff launching and probably price points as well as money raised. So, just keep your eyes open, keep your wallet safe and close to your self so that you're not losing anything elsewhere. Let's see. Like I said, reviews coming up this week, hopefully. I've got 2 small reviews and hopefully my Beast review. So hopefully that's most of things. Like I mentioned, maybe the September roundup, maybe the rest of quarter 4 games to watch and games to be aware of. And then we'll just kind of see what else happens. That's probably going to be most of the videos of the week, even if I do a game or a video every single day next week. That's probably going to be it. So, we'll see. Maybe the lineup will change depending on what else comes in the mail and what else I can actually get to the table. I still need to get a few of these things played. Vagrant Song. It's sitting up on my counter upstairs. It's really the next thing I need to get played. That and Canopy. I've got Canopy sitting there too, and I'm going to try to play that solo. Anyway, it's going to be kind of interesting otherwise, so we'll see. Apart from that, we have the TV roundup side of things now. Yeah, I finished Squid Game. Everyone's talking about Squid Game now. Please, 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 I will say this, do not remake Squid Game, the American dumbed down version. Also, watch it with subtitles. Friends don't let friends dub, if you know what I mean. Dubbing, you're going to lose stuff in translation more likely than not, and it's also just doesn't look as good and sound as good. So I always recommend subtitles. I always recommend subtitles from that side of things. Watched One Lane Bridge on Amazon Prime, Aussie crime drama-ish, kind of different. Finishing up What If from the Marvel series as well. Again, hasn't been as exciting or thought-provoking as I was hoping with the what if concept in the first place, so we'll see where it goes from that side of things. Oh, and I finished probably the best thing after Squid Game, and maybe even, well, I don't know, it was kind of up and down. Midnight Mass on Netflix was an interesting watch. It was a very interesting watch, very interesting thoughts and discussion in the show itself. I might put spoilers out there, though, for why it's called Midnight Mass and what it goes on, but it's more of the horror thriller-esque, not really like scary oomph horror, but just like creepy, that side of things. So I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't really buying into the hook, line, and sinker of the initial pitch, but once I started watching it, it was better than I expected. So otherwise, I think I'm just finishing up Counterpoint season 2 right now on Amazon. So I never got around to finishing that, so I finally got back into it from that side of things. But yeah, so be it. That's it. That's the roundup. That's the TV talk. That's everything back in a nutshell. So hopefully you have a better weekend than I do, and we'll just see what's going on and what's going to be coming up elsewise. So as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me. Stay classy. I'll see you around.